Today, we look at a very serious question about the Phala Phala report and how it was handled by authorities. It's a story that has stirred public debate across South Africa because it raises a fundamental issue: whether a report linked to a criminal investigation involving the president was wrongly declared top secret, and what that means for law, democracy, and public trust. In this video, I'll break down what happened, why people are concerned, what the law actually says, and what might come next. We'll keep it simple and fair so that anyone watching can follow the argument clearly. The story begins at President Cyril Ramaphosa's private Phala Phala farm, where large sums of foreign cash were reportedly stolen during a break-in. That single event set off a wave of investigations. Some focused on criminal activity, others looked into possible tax and exchange control violations, and still others examined how public officials responded. As months passed, the story grew into one of the most politically charged scandals in the country, raising questions about transparency, accountability, and how far those in power are willing to go to protect their own interests. In early 2025, Minister of Police Senzo Mchunu told Parliament that the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, known as IPID, had completed its investigation into the Phala Phala matter. But what shocked many people was what came next. The minister revealed that the IPID report was classified as top secret under the Minimum Information Security Standards, or MIS. That meant it could not be released to the public unless officially declassified. Many were puzzled because the MIS rules are meant for matters of national security, such as intelligence or defense, not for an ordinary burglary or corruption-related case. Critics immediately argued that this classification was unlawful and unconstitutional. They pointed out that the Phala Phala case is a criminal matter, not a national security issue. The theft of foreign currency from the president's farm falls under the Criminal Procedure Act, not under the MIS framework. Using MIS here, they say, was an attempt to misuse state mechanisms designed for protecting the country, not the president's reputation. Legal experts argue that by invoking MIS, Minister Mchunu acted beyond the powers of his office under the SAPS Act. Many South Africans have not forgotten what the Constitution guarantees. Section 32 promises every citizen access to information held by the state. Section 41 calls for cooperative governance based on transparency, and Section 195 demands that public administration must be accountable and open. By hiding this report, critics say government violated all three of these constitutional principles. Secrecy in this case, they argue, is not about protecting the country. It's about protecting individuals from scrutiny. Soon after Mchunu's announcement, several political parties and civil society groups began demanding answers. Action SA filed a formal PI request, that's the Promotion of Access to Information Act, asking IPID to release the report. Opposition parties in Parliament also questioned whether the classification was legal. These requests all showed the same thing. The public wants to know the truth, and many believe secrecy in this instance undermines public confidence. The minister, however, has defended his position. He insists that IPID is independent and makes its own classification decisions. According to Mchunu, the classification was done under the MIS rules and not by him personally. He said he merely communicated IPID's decision to Parliament. IPID, for its part, maintains that its actions followed legal procedure. But this explanation hasn't convinced everyone. Critics argue that even if IPID acted independently, the very use of MIS in a criminal investigation was outside its proper scope. Let's unpack what MIS is actually meant for. The Minimum Information Security Standards framework was created to protect information that could harm South Africa's national security, diplomatic relations, or defense capabilities. It's meant for highly sensitive intelligence matters, not for cases involving
I want to address the
theft or
critical
misconduct.
issues facing
For a
our
report to be
community
classified as top
and
secret,
outline our path.
it must contain information whose exposure could cause exceptionally grave damage to the state. That's a very high standard. In the Phala Phala case, it's hard to see how revealing details about a burglary and subsequent investigation could endanger the country. Adding to the confusion, other agencies involved in the same saga, like the South African Reserve Bank and the South African Revenue Service, released their own reports publicly. The Reserve Bank's report, for instance, addressed the exchange control aspect of the foreign cash found on the farm and was made public without any security classification. That raises an obvious question. If those reports were open, why was IPID's report suddenly treated as a national security secret? The inconsistency has deepened public suspicion that secrecy was used selectively to protect certain individuals. Civil society organizations and legal experts have also reminded government of the public's right to information. The Promotion of Access to Information Act provides a clear mechanism for citizens to request official documents. If access is denied, the courts can step in and decide whether the refusal was lawful. This is how democracy ensures that government operates in the open. If authorities hide behind secrecy laws for political convenience, it sets a dangerous precedent where future cases could be hidden the same way. The implications go far beyond one report. When powerful people appear shielded by secrecy, ordinary citizens lose trust in institutions. It creates a perception that laws are applied differently depending on who is involved. That perception is toxic for democracy. A system that relies on transparency cannot survive if key information is locked away under vague claims of national security. Those who defend the classification say there might be operational reasons. Perhaps the report includes sensitive details about police informants or ongoing investigations. But if that's true, they argue, the report could have been partially redacted rather than completely sealed off. In other words, transparency and security are not mutually exclusive. Both can be achieved with proper balance. So what happens next? Several things could unfold. Parliament's oversight committees can summon IPID or the minister to explain the classification decision. Civil society groups can continue using PI requests and take the matter to court if access is denied. The courts can review whether the classification met legal requirements and whether it violates constitutional rights. If a judge finds a classification unlawful, the report could be ordered to be released. There is also the broader question of precedent. If this classification stands unchallenged, it could open the door for future misuse of the MIS framework in other criminal matters. Imagine every sensitive case being marked top secret. It would be nearly impossible for the public to hold officials accountable. This is why many legal experts say the outcome of the Phala Phala classification fight will shape South Africa's transparency The larger lesson here is about trust. South Africans need to believe that the law applies equally to everyone, from ordinary citizens to the president himself. When legal tools meant for national defense are used to protect political figures, it weakens democracy. But when institutions remain open, accountable, and honest, the country grows stronger. At the end of the day, the debate over the Phala Phala classification is not only about paperwork and legal frameworks. It's about the soul of our democracy. Are we a country where truth can be hidden behind technical rules, or one where sunlight remains the best disinfectant? So, what do you think? Was the classification lawful, or was it an attempt to cover up political embarrassment? Do you trust the system to correct itself, or do you think Parliament must intervene? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I really want to hear what you think. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future updates on stories that shape our country's politics and justice system. I read every comment, and I'll respond to the most insightful ones. Thank you for watching and stay informed.